Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday, happy Saturday to one and to all. Perhaps it is Sunday, depending upon where you are on the globe. Today, at least in my neck of the woods, it is Saturday, June the 7th. My goodness, we are on the seventh day of June already. So, always as an opening, please give yourselves a round of applause for making it to and through another day. Good morning, twin. Or is it good evening? And I'm sure you will say you are working or perhaps you're resting. Hopefully, you are resting. Now, the title of this is Stop Lying. Stop it. It will not end well. Now, I also like to say, hey there, all grit and grind, all heart, grit and grind. And I'm so glad that you have a heart because unfortunately, many don't. And this should be very interesting. I do not want to hurt anyone's feelings. However, people take things certain ways. I, for one, take things certain ways, and my little feelings do get hurt at times. I've been, yes, so hold on to your horses, all heart, grit, and grind. For those of you that have taken the time out just to listen to a few of the broadcasts with Dr. Newsom, who I love so much. And again, please do not take that ball and run with it when I say love. He is my mentor, and he's had to straighten me out a few times. And that is what love is about. If you truly, in my opinion, care about someone and you see them about to make mistakes or other ways can be utilized to handle certain things or to de escalate, those are the people you may want to keep in your corner. Those that actually encourage what could be deemed, and I'm choosing my words carefully, deemed as bad behavior. You need to think, especially if you're a certain age, those individuals really don't have your best interest in mind. And I also want to say, I'm not perfect. I have never said that I have been. There are things that I have engaged in and participated in that I am not proud of at all. And at the end of the day, where I thought it would give me a little push, in the grand scheme of things, it actually ended up hurting me. So that those were a couple of things that I wanted to discuss. And during the course of this broadcast, I'm going to reintroduce myself to some people because I don't think they quite understand that I'm not here to play with anyone. I'm not. I'm very, for the most part, quiet. Every now and again, I may have some humor with me, but for the most part, I'm pretty much a serious person, and I try not to bother people unless they truly, truly, truly get under my skin. And I've been watching a couple of things go on, and it's really beginning to bother me because I see, and no, I'm not a prophetess or clairvoyant, but I don't see things ending well at all if this continues. And it is my prayer that there's some medium that can be met and all of this end honestly. So I have a message I need to respond to. But good morning again, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are on the globe. And I shall return in one quick moment. Again, thank you all. Thank you for your patience. I work daily for the most part. It is actually raining on this side of the woods, so depending upon where you are, please make sure that you keep your weather stations in place so you will know what the weather may be. It was in the 90s this week, and I actually got sick. I don't do well in heat at all, so that brings me to a quick health tip disclaimer. I am not a doctor, physician, or anything under the umbrella as it relates to health, but I would suggest to everyone who is out to please stay hydrated and to keep things nearby in the event of weather conditions. Hey there, Boys, how are you? Welcome, and thank you so much for your membership. Twin, you as well. Thank you for your membership. I'm trying to make sure that uh, I recognize everyone. So happy weekend to you. Can you believe we are in June already? And I'm sorry, as I said, okay. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I work from home a lot too, to ensure it isn't correct. Okay, so we're speaking about lying. And again, I would think that as a child, many of us may have engaged in little stories, tall tales, um, what old wives' tales or parents may have said white lies. And for many of us, they may have seemed harmless. You steal a grape. I actually did that when I was little. I was a bad little girl. I don't know why. I was just into everything. Um, you get in trouble in school. Of course, you don't want your parents to know that because depending upon what type of parents you may have, that they may go to, or they may have gone to your backside, or It depends really in your family dynamic what type of punishment was rendered for certain behaviors. But my middle name really should have been Punisher because I was punished a lot. It wasn't because of anything that my mother did, and I want to make that clear. She held down the rules, but for some reason it was just me. I just had a hard head. Sweet as it can be, but I had a hard head. So, textbook message or definition: a liar is someone who intentionally tells untrue things, either to deceive others or for their own personal gain. Lying can damage trust. That is absolutely true, in my opinion. Relationships, whether it be personal, business, and the like. That's what they say, all hard grit and grind. And many people who are leaders of worshiping gathering places are quick to say the truth will set you free. However, unfortunately, as of late, and it may not even be as of late, I will just say a lot of these things have been discovered and brought to the forefront as of late. So if you cannot trust who is preaching the word to you from behind the pulpit, that itself, in my opinion, is problematic because if you can't believe in the one that is supposed to be teaching you the good word from the good book, and where does that put some people? Because some people actually rely on that. And I just believe, even with the people that I care and do love, with beyond a shadow of a doubt, my trust does not and will never go to man. It'll go to my creator. And I also know that there are some people that they don't believe. I'm not going to go too much in that, but again, all opinions here are welcome. Just be respectful. That's all. Just be respectful. There are times I must admit that I may come off disrespectful because I get really frustrated of BS and the contradictions and hypocrisy. And again, I am not perfect. And that label could have been, maybe, placed upon me. And if that's ever the case, again, call me out on it because, again, I'm human. I'm not perfect, but I am not like several of the people that are on here consistently with what I just spoke about. So, these types of individuals need to understand that the behavior of lying can have serious consequences, maybe not to you, but to those with whom you care or you say that you care about. There are different levels of lying. Pathological liars being those who lie frequently and compulsively even when it causes harm. I'm going to repeat that. There are different levels of lying. Pathological liars, being those who lie frequently and compulsively, even when it causes harm. Basically, you don't care or you don't think about the harm it may cause as long as you are getting some type of benefit with that. It could be some sort of cognitive stimuli. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I have no idea, but I'm just going by some of the things that I've seen this week. And All Heart says, and thank you so much for engaging All Heart. When you tell one lie, you have to keep coming up with more lies in order for it to seem true. I think that's how it sets you free. That is a very good point. Very good point. Unfortunately, if you continue to lie and you tell so many of them, look, I've said before, I'm 56 years old, and one thing that many people that I work with uphold me with is my memory. And I don't forget too many things, but when it comes to being dishonest, to me, and this is just me, I think that's a very difficult thing unless this is something you were used to doing. Now, key aspects of lying. A liar, and I really hate that word, is a person who knowingly utters falsehoods with the intention to deceive. Operative key thought here, with the intention to deceive. Reasons for lying, including avoiding difficult situations. I can understand that. Gaining an advantage. I can understand that. Not saying that it's right, but I can understand that. Or hiding mistakes. I definitely understand that. I look at myself as being a perfectionist. I am not perfect, so when I make a mistake, I get really upset and tempted to stretch the truth, as my mom would say, but it's not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it. We all make mistakes. And All Heart says, telling that many lies keeps you in mental bondage. I am going to star that. And you are absolutely right on that. And I can't even imagine how that may feel. Bondage, period, is not a good thing. So, yes, All Heart, grit, and grind. You are absolutely right on that. Okay, my system has gone down. Give me a sec. Let me see what happens. Okay, see, the devil doesn't want me to get this message out. But yes, bondage is not good. Next. And you can Google these things. You can talk to someone that is a professional, and I'm sure they will tell you the same or something similar. Consequences of lying. Lying can damage trust, as I mentioned before, relationships and reputations for those of you that are in business, those of you that are trying to receive sponsorships, those of you who just want to build with people. People watch what you say, people watch what you do on social media, whether you may think they do or not. That is why I'm very careful when I have certain guests on my platform or just in general not to engage in that type of mess. It's ridiculous. Some of the signs of lying, while not foolproof, some behavior cues suggest that someone might be lying, such as vague or repeated questions, or exhibiting inconsistencies in their stories. Stopping lying. For those struggling with lying, seeking professional help and addressing underlying reasons for that behavior can be beneficial. Keep in mind, according to certain articles, that may not be as easy as it says. It takes a long time. Certain things are easy to get into, but very difficult to get out of. And that includes all forms of addiction, whether it be drugs, whether it be, and I want to stay clean here, entanglement, food. That's in the upper echelon. Recreational activities. Some people may not even like some of the aforementioned things, but it gives them this calmness, this euphoria. But the thing is, once you come down off of that, the problem is still there. And then you may, not everyone, but some people may find themselves right back facing themselves, as you can see in the thumbnail, being forced to look at themselves in the mirror. Some people may not even look at themselves in the mirror because they know the truth about themselves. And if the real truth got out to people who may look up to them, who may respect them, that might be diminished. So, if you want to look at the biblical sense, and again, I am not a Bible thumper, but I am a believer. The Bible strongly condemns lying. And one thing I do not like is when I hear, and again, people have freedom of speech, but I'm going to tell you this from my experience and things that I've seen happen to individuals. I just don't think it's a good thing to say I'm doing God's work. And I've heard many people say that. I would be very careful in doing that. That's just my opinion. Again, you have your right to agree or disagree, but I'm doing God's work. And then there's some questionable things right after that. That's just not what I would do. Again, you have the freedom. We do know about free will. So you can do and say what you want, but keep in mind there are consequences. The Bible views it as a sin and an abomination to God. Lying is portrayed as a characteristic of wickedness, a source of deception with severe consequences for liars in the afterlife. So again, for those of you who are believers and you believe in the afterlife, keep in mind what you do here. That's why repentance, in my opinion, is extremely important. And don't think that when I do or say something, I don't feel convicted and I don't repent. I do have a personal relationship with my Creator. I absolutely do. If I did not, if there were no favor, grace, and mercy bestowed upon me, I would not be here today. Speaking, talking, walking, working, none of those things. So again, I'm not perfect, but trust and believe I have a relationship and I do read my good book and consult with my mentor. Revelations 21:8 states liars will have their part in the lake of fire, which is the second unaliving. Lying can lead to spiritual harm and a separation of God. The Bible warns that liars will not go unpunished. And, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention to this. Their lies will be revealed. I have seen so many lies being revealed, and I just knew it would be a matter of time. I just knew it. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies. And that comes from the book of Psalms 58:3. Now, many of you may know, I've spoken about this before, but I think it bears for me to revisit really quickly. Many of you know me as Doe Eyes, or I've gone back to my name, LEESE. But it still comes up at Doe Eyes TV, which is fine. I'm in the middle, as I mentioned before, of working on something that's going to be lengthy, but that's the reason why I changed that name. So if anyone has questions in relations to that, that's the reason why. But many of you, and it depends on what sector you're in, but most people, I'm sorry, one quick second. Give me 1 second, I'm sorry. Okay. Many people remember me or remember the label that was put on me as Lupus Lady. Now that came because I was engaged in a situation with someone, and I will repeat this again for those of you who may not know. It did not have to get ugly the way that it did, but I have to take responsibility, because had I not brought something to that individual, and keep in mind I was green at the time, I didn't know all of these things about receipts and this, that, and the third. I thought I was doing a favor, and now I've learned that sometimes you have to let people find things out for themselves, because when you think you're doing a good thing, it could end up backfiring, and that's actually what happened. Again, it did not have to go that way. It did, but I have to take, and I did, and I've said it publicly, that had I not said anything, had I just let things go, that person and I would have had no problem. But unfortunately, and this is what happens, You have other people that need to feel important, that need to feel validated, that call themselves jumping into things that they really knew nothing about to impress or to show people what they quote unquote have. And that's what happened. I had many people coming after me, not because of anything that I did to them personally, nor to their families, but because of their admiration for a certain individual. Now, of course, you could admire your favorite content creators, but if someone is not doing anything to you personally, it's probably a good idea to stay out of it. Unfortunately, individuals spawned into these evil creatures, and even though, and I'll repeat this, I forgave. I forgave everybody for the cruel things that were said and done that were sent my way. And let me make this clear as well. Even though I left for a little bit, it wasn't because of me per se. It was to protect my family. People that come to dox people or to try to shame people, unfortunately, they don't keep it on the individual. They try to go for families. And see, I don't play that. I will protect my family to the nail. And that's a very stressful thing, trying to work, trying to make sure that family members are safe from some of these evil and cruel behaviors. I see some people now, and they know they participated in some ugly things that were done to me. Till this day, they haven't opened their mouth. And I've just watched some of the consequences from their behavior. And it's not over yet, because what people don't understand is you have to be extremely careful of who you put your mouth on. It amazes me that there are so many people that listen to the hypocrisy of certain individuals, how certain individuals are held to certain standards as to showing receipts. But they don't show anything. They just talk and talk and talk. Certain individuals show you exactly who they are. And some people still listen and believe. You don't pay attention to patterns. You don't listen to what people say. Certain people have the gift of gab. And those individuals who seemingly have to raise their voice several octaves to get their point across, those are red flags. Those are red flags. individuals who fall out with people very often, that is certainly a red flag, in my opinion. Certain individuals who do not tell the truth are angry and extremely jealous. And when I say jealous, it has nothing to do with financials at all. It's the respect and admiration that other people get, and they don't get the same. They go from place to place to place, attempting to receive that same respect, love, and adoration, but they just can't get that close to it. No grown man, in my opinion, should be seeking validation from another grown man. And that goes to anyone. You can ask someone for their opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. But I will say this, and I want people to take this very seriously. If an individual screwed you over in the past, what really makes you believe if you go against the grain, they won't do it again? You don't know what's being done and said behind the scenes. You don't. As I said before in the past, I know how to hold water. And if some of you really, really knew, I don't believe the shout outs would be as they are. So think about that. Think about that really clearly. People will make up the most egregious stories and labels and place upon you. And you have others who will believe that. Please tell me where that makes sense. I have been called a low-life criminal. I've been told that I've made a fool out of myself on my community wall. Nope. Actually, I haven't. That's you. Because, see, there are some people that claim to have accomplished and built these resumes, but come with empty receipts. I've shown many receipts before in the past. And I happened to be cleaning out some things and found a couple of old receipts. And when I've said many, many times, there's certain things I can speak on as it relates to certain things in the law. I can do that because of my experience and what it is that I have done and what it is that I do. See, many people can pay for services to get background reports to put up, to try to humiliate people and go on their background. There are people that now don't even want to post happy things with their families because you have people that are peeping and peering their every move, but they don't want to show theirs. Hold on, all heart. These are the same guys that say they don't do religion on here or other social media platforms, worshiping and windmilling for certain influencers and YouTubers. Absolutely. Absolutely. But as I said, some of these people's followers don't even question it. And the reason why I say this is because I've had conversations with people that have lied to my face, and one of my pet peeves is a liar and then someone who lies to my face. I don't like that. I don't like that. See, a lot of things that are being brought up now, I knew about. Some things I didn't, but there are many things that I've known about and haven't said anything. And I'm not going to say anything. It's not my place to. I don't have to. And as I've mentioned before, anything I need to do will be off of YouTube. It's as simple as that. Listen to people. Pay attention to people. See if anything has changed. Hey there, April. Good to see you. See if anything has changed over the years. There's one person who claimed to have a certain issue. And I'm not going to say that they didn't. There's no way I can say that they didn't. But I haven't heard that mentioned in a while now. And I'll just say it was a stress disorder with a couple of letters in front of it. That's all you could hear. I don't listen to that person, but I haven't heard that in a long time. There are people that will try to use certain conditions for personal gain. And a lot of people like to use the court of law when all else fails. Do you know how much money taxpayers spend on frivolous lawsuits? Oh, not at all, April. Not at all. I'm dealing with a certain situation right now. And I tried to have an amicable resolution with this individual to no avail. And something told me something is not right about this person. And once I did a little bit of digging, because legally I can do that because it deals with me. I found out so many things that were being done illegally. I can't prove it, but it might be a little bit of money laundering going on. So when I'm done, that person won't do that to anyone else. I'm going to share a few little things just for the people who called me a criminal, a lowlife, because they listened to other people who have yet to show any accolades other than running their mouth. These might be out of order. This needs to be updated. And with everything that's going on in the federal government, I don't know when I'll get my latest, but it's pretty. It's 20 or more. I don't even know now. See, I started my government career just a little bit out of high school. And we have, keep in mind, I was extremely young. Hopefully you all can see these. See, I hear a lot of people talk about Homeland Security, and they're going to go out and call them and call other people, and how they have people, family members, that it's really comical, that are good in certain areas. Now, I have a very good judge friend, but these are accolades I received on my own. On my own. Take a good look at them. Take a good look at them. I had to go to Denver to get this. Experienced. Okay? Not a novice, but experienced. Computer application training for special agents. I had to go to Austin, Texas for that. So, and I'm not finished yet. This is just a reintroduction for those who may not know or those who may have forgotten. I'm not like a lot of people on here. And I wouldn't play computer games with me. That would be a very unintelligent thing to do. I said before, my reach was long. I didn't embellish. There's no need for me to do that. And if I were a criminal, I wouldn't have any of these things. Internet for investigators, advanced internet search for investigators. So for some of you who made all of those troll accounts and were bullying me and playing these games, do you honestly think I have no clue know what's behind that? See, there's a method to my madness. Bet some of you didn't know that, did you? Some of you do. That's why I don't have many trolls coming in my chat. Well, take a good look at that. So for you known liars on this application and you known instigators on this application, pay attention to that right there before you try to make any moves. Next. Again, this is when I was extremely young. I don't talk. I show. Good morning, Cheryl. How are you? Just showing a little bit of receipts for people that think I'm a joke. Hey there, Liferia. Hey there, Hood TMZ. So yeah, these are just a few receipts of mine that, like I said, I don't think a lot of people knew or know. And it wouldn't be a good idea to play, at least not with me. Again, these are just a few. Just a few. But there's one. Actually, there are a couple. Right here. Just NCIC and inlets. And where was this? U.S. Department of Justice. Now, most of you have heard of NCIC. NCIC is where you're looking for people and you're trying to get a hit. This is what a lot of police officers use when they run your background. A lot of agents use it. A lot of people in law enforcement use that. But up at the very tippity top, I scored high enough. And do you see what it says there? Do you see what it says there? It says trainer, which means I scored the highest level where I trained people to use this program. And I ran it, not just for my office, but for the entire Mid-Atlantic region. And for those of you who like to say things are doctored, you can't doctor this. You can't alter this. Trainer. Oh no, Cheryl, there are people that will try, and I'm sure they will continue to try. This is just me putting out there today, June 7th, 2025, to try it one more time and see what happens. Because see, now, even though I'm retired from that, I am the in-house investigator for a pretty big firm. And again, I have the legal access to anything that I want if someone decides they want to play with me. And if anything falls under cyberbullying, harassment, or stalking, that will be your last mistake. Just want you to see this again. Experienced. Noble. And this is where I got sick actually in 2008. I gave blood that day, but this was in New York. And you can look this up. Noble stands for the National Association of Black Law Enforcement Executives. And I met a lot of people there. And there was a beautiful hardbound book presented to all of us. With contact information for every state. So it just takes a quick email or a telephone number if I needed to. If I had any problems with any people up on here. And what does this say right here? Terminal operator, which means I actually ran the NCIC. And this is for Department of Justice. And I took this at the Metropolitan Police Department in Washington, D.C. So, terminal operator. Yeah, Homeland Security there. And references to terrorism. What else do we have here? Congressional Task Group again. Congress. Service Award. And this right here. Remember, I went to Flexi, and I've shown these receipts before, but anybody that knows anything about Brunswick, Georgia would know about some of these places right here. So, Cheryl says, it's a shame that you have to deal with ignorant and, oh, I don't have to deal with them. That's just, as I said, a reintroduction of who it is I really am, not what people put up and put lies on me about because they're unhappy with their lives. Absolutely. Life is too short, and I've shared that before. This time last year, I was still laid up in the hospital, hooked up to machines, people passing away from God only knows what, in front of me, behind me, beside me, parents, children crying. That's not something I would wish on anybody. And some of you, and please don't take this the wrong way, I've tried to speak on it before, but it seems like it goes through deaf ears. You're going backwards and forth. Again, you're free to do what you want to do. We have free will, but keep in mind there are consequences behind that. You say that you're in good health. I was. Until all of a sudden I came down with a double pneumonia. Do you know what stress can really do? And you're saying, well, it's fun and entertainment, but if you're going back and explaining yourselves to people over and over and over and over and over 2 and 3 times a day or perhaps a week, do you really know what you're doing to your bodies, to your emotional status? Do you really understand? Or are you going to wait until you're on a gurney? You say you love your families, and I'm not going to say that you don't, but in loving your families, you have to stay healthy. And I'm sorry, I don't see going backwards and forth with people who you know what they're about, who they've shown you what they're about. If you believe in the Creator, trust me, the Creator sees and knows all and renders final judgment. Hey there, YM. Oh, yes. Yes, but I'm here today in my Geno's voice to let a couple of you know you are a liar. And I showed you, and I put them up before, but I didn't put everything up, and I still haven't. But that's just a few more receipts to let you know. Don't play with me. There's a lot I know, and I haven't said a word because that would make me lower than you are. And that's mighty low, in my opinion. So the little trolls that come in and make their little fake compliments, don't think I don't know who that goes back to. I just showed you all of my training and people that I know still that can find these things out. Because remember, if it deals with me, I can use whatever form I need to identify and place charges if I need to, because it's dealing with me, nobody else but me. So if I were some of you, go ahead, enjoy your content, because some of it, I must admit, is entertaining. But I dealt with what I dealt with a few years ago. And even though I forgave, and I did, I haven't forgotten. Please do not make the mistake or have any of your minions make a mistake by coming for me. I'm not on here just talking. The people that come in my chat, they don't have to ask, well, can you prove? I don't actually have to prove anything. I'm just letting people know. You may think that you know me. You don't. Yes, I know a lot of people, but what I just placed up, that was my own merit, my own intelligence, my own accolades that are received from hard work and mastering my craft. Not just sitting behind a computer all day, pulling up information, as I said, with the effort to try to embarrass people. And the people that sit there and listen and applaud that. Again, if you're a believer, it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. It never does. Repentance, in my opinion, is key. As I said, I'm not perfect. There are things that I've done and said that I know that I shouldn't have. But I also know I have a relationship with my Creator. That should be obvious from where I was last year to where I am today. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not out of the woods yet, but I'm not in a hospital bed. And I put in 50 plus hours a week sometimes. I put some in on the weekend. Then I try to put up a little bit of content. Not a lot, but just a little. Just a little. Or I'll visit other people to just to let them know that I've been by and that I've spoken to them. But did this, what I'm seeing, you all need to stop. It's not a good thing, in my opinion. So I'm going to drop this really quickly, and then I'm going to close this out. And YM says, unfortunately, there are a lot of liars on this app. And I really hate using that word, but sometimes you can't get around certain things. And Cheryl says, kudos for your strength on this app. Thank you. Sometimes, and I had to learn this, when people stomp you down and to make you feel extremely low or even questioning yourself despite what you know about yourself, in time, when you've had time to sit down and process and think about many things, they've actually given you strength. And again, I'll repeat, thank you to all of those that participated in. Well, many of us know. Because as you can see, it didn't really stop anything. It allowed me to share with people my challenges, my struggles, my faith, my endurance, and tenacity. In spite of it all, there have been people that have emailed me with some of the most kindest words. There have been people like YM and Joy that took time out to sketch a photo. Now, people can super chat, They can super sticker, they can cash app, all of those things are beautiful. But when someone takes their time and cares enough to want to sketch a portrait, something that they do with their own hands, with their own talent, with their own time, that shows love. Think about that. Think about that. There are not too many people that do that. And let me not forget about the beautiful Zena. She takes time to sing happy birthday to people. She doesn't have to do that. Again, that's another form of love. When you take time out to brighten someone's day by using a gift and using your time and not just throwing money at them, it's a difference. Again, there are going to be people, some people, that they know fall under this umbrella who may get upset. You'll get over it. I had to. When you become a certain age, and I guess I should be called an elder by now. I guess 56 is enough to be an elder. And especially if you go through certain things, you would want, I would believe, to share these things with people so they don't find themselves in a similar situation where they may not have that favor, grace, and mercy bestowed upon them, or it may take longer. We don't know. That's the mystery of life. We don't know what's going to happen in the next minute or hour. But what I do know, the time that some people take to what I feel, and again, this is just my opinion, foolishness, you're wasting precious moments. And it may not make sense to you now because you're not in a certain situation. And God forbid that does become the case. And you're compelled to sit down and think about certain things. I guarantee you, you may find yourself wishing, God, I wish I had done this instead of doing that. God, I wish I had done this instead of wasting my time. In a back and forth that is conducive to nothing positive at all. In fact, in my opinion, some of you are bringing darkness to you because that's what you're putting out. Again, that's something that I'm learning each day. I truly hope that this message reached or will reach the ears that it needs to before it's too late. Do you really understand some of the things that are going on around the world, that's going on in your neighborhoods? Are you prepared for another potential, I'll just say, pandemic? Do you actually read the news? Are you paying attention? Or are you allowing the adversary, because that's exactly what it is, an evil spirit. Deception is an evil spirit. Distract you from the important things. There's only 24 hours in a day. Cheryl says, it takes a beautiful soul as yours to show that people don't have to tell untruths on people on this app. I'm so proud of the content you put out here. I appreciate you. Thank you, Cheryl. I truly appreciate that. Again, I am truly no angel, but as far as this maliciousness and intentional behavior that I see, and it's not just in this sector. I go all over, and again, I'm speaking worldwide. There's so much suffering that's going on. I think time could be spent doing more positive things to help mankind, those that are braving the elements, those with nothing to eat. I did a shopping spree the other day at Harris Teeter, which is supposed to be one of the most reasonable markets. A pound, I believe it was a pound of strawberries. They were $12.99. I remember back in the day, I think maybe last year or year before last, you could get two of those, 2 for $5, I believe, or 3 for $10. And you have people on here worrying about other people's finances, other people's families, when you really should be worried about your own. See, I can speak on things and not have to mention any names. And people are like, put a name on it, put a name on it. I don't need to do that. Those with whom are guilty already know. They already know. And as I said, if you are truly a believer in the Creator knows too. Not all bad things happen to people as a form of punishment. Some things happen to strengthen you, to master and expand your craft. If it were not for a situation I'm going through right now, I wouldn't have learned additional things. On the flip side, sins without repentance can lead to consequences, and it may not Please hear what I'm saying. That pendulum may not swing at you. It may swing at what or whom you love unconditionally. These are words of wisdom because these are things that I have experienced and I know. Karma has knocked on my door morning, noon, and night. So for anyone who may think, because there are people that jump the gun and listen to what they want to listen to without hearing the entire message, that I don't know what it's like, or I've never participated in certain things. No, I have. And I've had to be humbled more than once. And I speak about it freely. Again, we are already in the month of June. 6 more months, God willing, and we'll be in 2026. Have any of you, and I spoke on this a year or two ago, completed your emergency preparedness packs for your vehicles, your homes, your offices, just in case? Have you had all of your screenings yet? If you have any health conditions, and again, I am not a doctor or anything under the professional umbrella, but are you doing the things that may help boost any issues you may have? The immune system is so very important. I cannot express how important that is. This is the time of year where people gather. This is the time of year where people travel. And this is the time of year where people experience allergies and other type of viral infections. Are you practicing safe hygiene? Because it may not be you. It may be others around you. Pay attention to the news. A couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to close after this, when I found out I had shingles, and I'm telling you that it's still giving me some problems. The scarring, thank God, has dissipated, but the pain, that's a painful thing to have to deal with. But when I went to my service provider, there was a notice that was put up, and I told Dr. Newsom this. It said that I'll just say, C19 tests were, I'll just say the availability were not as plentiful. I said to him, something's about to happen, I believe. There was an article, and you can Google, that we might be facing, might is the operative word. There's no guarantee, but sometimes when the media puts certain things out, I look at it as a foreshadowing that we might be facing another pandemic. Those are the types of things I think I would be interested in, to making sure that myself, my family members, older relatives have certain small things stocked up just in case. And keep in mind, even though the official hurricane season isn't here, there have been quite a few severe thunderstorms that have spawned many tornadoes, causing irreversible damage. Do you have proper insurance on your homes, on your valuables? Have you even thought about that? Do you have plans? If you receive a notification on your phone or your weather app, if you have that a tornado has touched down in your area, do you have a plan in place? Do you have the necessary things available to be able to weather an emergency event? Or do you just have your StreamYard up, or the press live button on a speed dial, to talk crap to one another? Again, do what it is you feel as though that makes you happy. But in my opinion, there are more serious things that are going on in and around you that you may not even be aware of. What if YouTube goes away indefinitely? God forbid. Many people work, many people receive, I'll just say, alternative forms of income. But what about those that don't, and that they rely completely on this app? What if there are people who are addicted to not only this app, but other forms of social media? Are you able to function without it for a day, for 2 days, 3 days? What about a week? And these are just small things to think about in the grand scheme of life. Because keep in mind, at least as far as I know, we only have one. And I would think we all should have the same idea as to living our lives the best that we know how to do. And that may be different for everyone. I'm sure that it is. But please, if you haven't heard anything that I've said, don't waste it away. Don't waste it away. So, for those of you caught up in this conundrum of deceit and deception, please stop. Because it will not end well. Everyone, enjoy the remainder of your Saturday, perhaps Sunday, again, depending upon where you are on the globe. It is raining here. I'm going to step out for a few. And again, maybe not. It depends. Arthur has decided to visit my back a little bit. And I took some Advil. But that's not really helping too much. So I need to move around a little bit. Once you get a certain age, your body tells you, okay, we can go do this. But then when you try to do it, deep down in your body it's saying, or as Dwayne from What's Happening used to say, So again, take care of your bodies and your mental. So with that, everyone, again, enjoy this Saturday. This was not to diminish, to discredit, or to fuss at anyone. It's my commentary. It's my opinion as to some of the things that I've seen and some of the things I've heard. And again, most importantly, to reintroduce some of you to who you think you might know, but you really don't. That is the person you would not want to play games with, because as I've said, I already know all I need to know. And quite honestly, this stuff is in the past, but don't think if you begin again, my foot won't go on the accelerator.